together. So the last one, last but not least, is Furio Grammatica. For those who wouldn't know, Furio, he's also the chairman of the Clinical Interface Working Group of the ETPN, and he will give a really nice talk about, do you want the video first?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give a talk about, let's say, the clinical reality of putting some key enabling technology in the clinical context. So we'll start by this movie. Do you want to say something before? Yeah.
I'll do it. And for the slides, it's up.
Up, down, lighter.
Okay.
And
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, thank you. It's the last effort. Then we have the dinner.
Just one more, I'm sorry. Just to tell you, because we are late, we have delayed the bus, so you can be there. The bus will be at 6:45 for people coming to Bayonne, so you will have time.
Thank you, Alex. So I just want to accompany you in a technology journey, the journey of a technology when the technology tries to enter the market seen by an healthcare provider. So just we have to wear the glasses of the administrators first, innovation procurers in an healthcare center, and then of a medical doctor that I am not, but I live with them 5,000 in my organization. So this is what I would like to do with you. That's why I start with 1 minute video that is about my organization. It doesn't matter the organization, just look at the titles and at the pictures there.
Da quasi 70 anni, la Fondazione Dognocchi è una mano tesa ai bisogni dei più fragili. Una rete di 28 centri di eccellenza in 9 regioni risponde ai bisogni di quasi 10.000 pazienti al giorno, coniugando ricerca scientifica e innovazione tecnologica con i valori di solidarietà e prossimità. Con l'aumento dell'età media e l'incremento di pazienti con più patologie croniche, è fondamentale il ricorso a processi di innovazione, capaci di trasformare le tecnologie mediche in soluzioni per la salute, per assicurare una reale continuità assistenziale e garantire efficacia dei trattamenti, appropriatezza e sostenibilità. Grazie alla piattaforma cloud Microsoft Azure, Fondazione Dognocchi conserva, aggrega e analizza milioni di dati provenienti da trattamenti di riabilitazione robotica eseguiti nei propri centri, utilizzo della realtà virtuale per la riabilitazione dei bambini come al Care Lab e sistemi di teleriabilitazione domiciliare. Una rete di sensori e dispositivi come Microsoft Kinect misura in modo oggettivo e dinamico i risultati dei pazienti, contribuendo a creare una banca di dati e di conoscenza senza precedenti. Microsoft sostiene la Fondazione Dognocchi, con la tecnologia accanto alla vita, sempre.
Okay, it was not a Microsoft spot, okay? It was just because we use some Microsoft and other technologies
Da quasi 70 anni la
to gather the data that we take from the technologies, that's why. So this was the first step, to wear the glasses of what happens within a technology provider. And here some facts and figures. We have 30 centers in Italy. 30 centers, here it is. 30 centers in Italy. We see around 3.5 million patients a year. We do research. We are fully devoted to rehabilitation, chronicity, and long-term care. This is not trivial because this is the market that is incoming. This is the what we know. Okay, aging society, chronicity. A good acute medicine means that people survive, but how they survive. Okay, so this is the context. And in such a context, what happens is that the patient is a moving target, because the patient treatment can last 10 years. So it's not 3 months, it's 10 years maybe. So patients changes. If patient changes and you want to measure the appropriateness of the treatments and of the technology you use, you must measure. You must measure, and what's better to measure than technology? This morning, or yesterday morning, Patrick shown this phrase by Commissioner Moedas. describing the mission-based FP9. That is, we need to define missions that break down silos to set our eyes on a specific target, and we need to be ambitious about it. So I'm proud to say that we started, I didn't know this phrase, we started these are the silos of healthcare, just after the acute phase. I mean, here there is the acute phase. You have intensive rehabilitation, then you have extensive rehabilitation, that is the long-term one. Then you have the maintenance, then you have assistance and autonomy at home. These are different silos. You just add a silos here, that is the one of acute medicine. And usually a person with some impairments is just like a ping pong ball going across the silos alone, basically, without any continuity of care. So our specific target in our mission is to promote the adaptive, to have a continuity of care across the silos by promoting what we call adaptive technologies. And we set up a method for that we called the loop of innovation, that I will demonstrate for you for the specific CAT that I've chosen, that is robotics. But we could do it for the other CATs you can see here: robotics, imaging, ICT, big data, data management. Okay, so we just bent the organization on the needs. So we introduced this particular hub, that is the innovation hub within our organization. That is an hub between industry, that is the technology offer, research and development, that should be translational, organization that should ensure sustainability in real environment, the medicine, I mean our patients in institute or at home, and the policymakers. Because at the very end of the path, that is the beginning of what you think, you should have your solution approved. If your solution are not approved and registered, they will never go to the market, basically. We want to have a special attention to this, what is strange for researchers, because usually researchers try to have money here from industry. This time is over. Industry is no more distributing money for research in that sense. So what we want to give back are solutions to industry based on their technologies. And we will see how. This is what we call industrial liaison group. Okay, this is the loop, the concept of the loop. These are the TRLs. I think you are familiar with TRLs. Technology readiness level is the scale of maturity of the technology that has been invented by NASA a lot of years ago, that has been fully adopted by the European Commission. When you are 1, you are an idea. When you are 9, you have a mature technology, so you are on the market. Okay. A lot of wishful startups arrive here, around here, and they want some money to do the clinical trials here. Then they arrive here, and they say, now I have a mature technology. And then, clearly, they ask why I cannot penetrate the market. What's the problem? So the problem is that there is a part of the path, I ate this stuff, a part of the path you cannot do like that, you have to do like that. What happens here in this loop? I call it loop because somehow it comes back to trials, innovation trials, not clinical efficacy trials, innovation trials. It's a loop, and the stops of the loop concerns questions like, is it sustainable in real settings? Is it usable? Is it accepted? Are there cultural barriers? What is the impact on organization? What is the return on investment in buying such a stuff? So this is what I call the loop of innovation. And for instance, in our experience, we have projects traveling along the metro line, the blue line now. Some project is already entered the red loop of innovation, and something like robotics is already entering the green line of clinics. For robotics, I will show you very fast the 3 stops that we had to go along. It took almost 2 years to do it, the loop, I mean, to go along the loop, 2 years, not 10 days. So keep this in mind when you think of the exploitation of your technology. The first was scouting and health technology assessment. Second, procurement, partnerships with industry and test. And the last, optimization and valorization. And if you have no valorization, you have no market. Okay, first, this is just a summary of the first stop. That is scouting HTA. So we are talking about robots, rehabilitation robots, not the robots, not the robots, humanoid robots, but rehabilitation robots, okay? So they're machines with a robotic intelligence, able to adapt to the need of the patients, guiding the patients, and measuring what the patient is doing under the supervision of a therapist. So first, we constituted a group made of 14 members from technology experts, therapists, clinicians, researchers or clinical practitioners, and people from the management. We have selected 16 robots to be analyzed. We have reached the consensus on an evaluation form. We applied the evaluation form. We invented an algorithm to set up to calculate the ranking of the solutions. And then at the end, we selected the 4 robots, the set of 4 robots that best matched our needs. This is just to go very, very fast through it. You can see here the 64 evaluation forms, the systems that have been analyzed, who analyzed the systems, the ranking criteria. The ranking criteria came partly by the medical doctors or the therapists and partly by the administrators. You can see these are typical non-research parameters because they are inappropriateness for highly diffused disease, capability to provide outcome indexes, or efficacy, okay, efficacy proven in scientific literature, already proven. Eyes impairment targetable, the maturity of technology, yes, no. If it is not CE marked, nothing to do. And some efficiency indexes, like patients can or cannot use it autonomously in group therapy, and how many therapists, how many patients can be cared by a single therapist. I don't describe everything, so this was the algorithm, just to prove that there was an algorithm. And because of that, we arrived to the group of 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's interesting. One of the 4, that is Motore, was from a startup of a Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna in Pisa, made of they only have 3 people working there, very clever engineers. It was a startup. The other ones, the 3 other ones, were from it's not a mid-cap, it's a small and medium enterprise in Austria, but already well established. So these are the robots. You can see that in the gym you have 4 patients, and a single therapist. Okay, this is a trainee. So a single therapist can take care of 4 patients, but the patients work full-time because I have the robots they work with. So there is the human touch, the human intelligence, and the robot that somehow the therapist is augmented, let me say, by the capability of the robots. So the robots is an extension of power of the therapist. It's not substituting the therapist. So, station number 2. Procurement partnership tests. we didn't ask for as a gift, I mean, we bought a set of 4 robots, of the 4 robots from the 2 vendors. We signed a partnership agreement in which it was very clear that it was a win-win position. But aside that, we bought the robots because they have to sell. Otherwise, this is their mission. Our mission is to take care of people. Their mission is to sell. So we bought the robot. But aside that, we pretended to have a partnership and not a client-supplier, bare client-supplier relation with them. Then you do successful thing with successful people. So we chosen in the foundation a champion clinician and a champion therapist in a champion center. So it would have been our pilot group and pilot center. Okay, we decided the protocol with, the medical doctor decided the protocol. We trained people about that. And we started a big multicentric study to prove large-scale clinical efficacy and efficiency. This took at least 1 year. So this is the final configuration of the network of rehabilitation robotics. You see that here you have a cloud-based rehabilitation data bank. That is very important because data are precious today. This is the trial, 100 clinicians and therapists, and more than 270, I think, patients. These are the results in terms of efficacy. First, we proven the efficacy so that we were to be sure that there are not fake cultural barriers. Like, oh, no, I never did like that. I don't know, probably it's not clinical, there is no clinical efficacy, things like that. So we proved that. These are clinical scales. The green is the robotics, rehabilitation, and the blue one is the conventional one in all the clinical scales. Innovation loop stop 3, the last one, optimization and valorization. This is a quite innovative aspect in the innovation. That is, we started a modeling of the patient journey to from the robots across the hospital with the simulation. We use Monte Carlo simulation that maybe some physicist or engineer is informed about. It is used in particle physics. In fact, who did it is Filippo, that is there, that is a particle physicist, so as I am as well. But we started with techniques coming from physics simulation applied to logistics of patients, basically, to predict the best configuration to integrate the robots in the hospital workflow. Because if you don't integrate the technology in the hospital workflow, it will be rejected. After that, after the simulation, we produced a virtual coordinator tool. That is, a robot can do faster what a therapist, that is a coordinator, does every day. That is the shifts and the logistics. But a PC is perfectly able to do it. And we are finalizing a tool to retrieve the big data from the installed robots through the cloud. Why? Because this data bank potentially is predictive for appropriateness of the use of robots for the patients. And these are the results. This is the modeling of the daily patient flow, slides by Filippo, and show you the results, 1, 2, and 3. So 1, this is a classical not optimized workflow. So what you see here is that the waiting list is rapidly increasing before being taken in charge on the robotic rehabilitation. The therapist patients ratio is 1 to 3, that is good. But in order to take this ratio and to keep the waiting time in the gym under 10 minutes, you have a lot of extra working time for the therapist. If you have a lot of extra working time from the therapist, what does the hospital director do? It doesn't sign anything, okay? Because it costs a lot. So this is after the simulation, and after the simulation and using the tool, so we have all the parameters optimized. Using simulation from particle physics, we optimize the parameter in a transparent way that the CEO accepted. So we went on. And in fact, this is the choice of, you have not to read, of course, but this is the choice in different configuration of the optimal top-ranking configuration of the calendars. So, for instance, I don't know, number of treatment in a day, number of new patients per week, a percentage of acute patients over the total. So that, I mean, you can just fine-tune the access of the patients. Okay, so final slide, the 6 lessons we learned and we want to share with you. The first 3 are CAT specific on the robotics. So, because this was the task, robots are valuable, high-level, well-accepted companions in a chronicity era where we are entering. Second, robots enable real value-based healthcare, value-based because you can measure. Third, research and development phase, that is what is before the loop of innovation, the blue line, you remember, not the red loop. In that phase, healthcare robots should be designed as adaptive technologies together with skilled end users in a partnership perspective and not in a client-supplier one. And then the 3 on the methodology, scouting, HTA, health technology assessment, procurement, test, optimization are stops of the innovation loop. And the health technology ecosystem will, especially research and industry, cannot escape. Because, I mean, otherwise. New multi-knowledge based approaches have to be standardized, starting from best practices, but, sorry for the, I mean, it seems joke, you need to standardize the personalization in a long-term care perspective. So when you say personalized medicine, since it doesn't exist, in order to do personalized medicine, you have to standardize the processes. Okay? Otherwise, it's random medicine. It's not personalized medicine. You cannot destroy 2,000 years of medicine, okay? Because most of us are equal from the processes point of view. So first standardize, then personalize, at least at methodology level. And the last, this will enable the SME's new business model to penetrate the huge chronicity welfare emerging market, because there is an enormous market of the new chronicity that industries are not ready to penetrate because they are used to work on the acute phase, not on the chronicity phase. But the acute phase is overcrowded, the chronicity phase is there, so partnerships allow to enter the market. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It was a brilliant talk, really stimulating. Maybe, Sergio, you want to make a final comment before we go?
Probably we have a short amount of time. Do we have time for questions? We don't, so we'll have time for question. Now, anybody's got a question or want to ask a few questions to the people who presented? No? It was very clear. Oh, fantastic. Thanks a lot. I think that you show, I mean, some different form of technologies and how they can be adapted to the need of particularly healthcare. Some of them I still have to sit down and try to understand. The one with the pictures were kind of nice. The one with the hospital I knew because we had already discussion. I think that's a fantastic approach. It's quite unique. Not so many people doing it. The objective is that I think there should be a lot of people doing it so that they really understand and best use technologies at the end of the day, and it doesn't stay the unused base, or at the end of the day, doesn't contribute. And the one on cancer was very interesting. I think it's definitely something of the future that we can move forward and address more specifically needs of attacking tumors in a very specific way. So thanks a lot to all of you. I think that the bus goes in at 6:45. Okay, so I'm doing now the organization part. The bus goes in 6:45, and for those of you who are joining for dinner, I just saw on my phone that the bus will leave at 8:45.
Yeah.
From the entrance here.
And indeed, the one that are going to Bayern will have a bus to go to the
So
gallery.
we're trying to do everything. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. That was